Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today on our daily, every weekday, Monday through Friday, live Q&A, taking immigration questions to provide general guidance, general answers, not case-specific questions. You should consult with an immigration attorney about that, but just general information on what's going on and what a day and what a week and what a month it is. Constantly things going on with U.S. immigration, the whole system that you're going to talk about in a moment. So if you like, just answer your questions here. We're live on TikTok Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. 5 Pacific, Immigration Lawyer John. Mondays we're on Facebook, and I can take your questions on Facebook. JQK Law Firm is the name. And the video of this is posted on YouTube, JQK Law Firm YouTube page. If you haven't already, subscribe and follow and ring that bell over there. The same on TikTok and on Facebook to get the latest updates and videos as they come. I'm constantly putting out material every day of the week that you catch that'll help you learn more about the U.S. immigration system. And with that, let's get it started. All right, so the biggest news that's hitting us today is the decision by ICE, who helps manage the student visa program, that they will not accept full online course students anymore the following semester. So what that means is that because of COVID-19, many schools have shut down in-person learning, and they said if you have a class or a course that's not in person, that means you have to do it online and stuff. That's not student visa worthy class. So the U.S. State Department will not issue visas for that. And people in those kind of situations either have to leave or they have to transfer to a school that has an in-person system, potentially some kind of hybrid system. But a full online system will not fly because they're saying essentially you can do that at home. Why do you need to be in the United States to do that? So if you're on a student visa, be mindful of that. Jump into it, get hold of the situation as fast as you can. And the other thing is, what's going to happen with USCIS? Are they going bankrupt? Could they afford keep things going, keep the doors open? We don't know. The administration is just burning everything that they can every day. So maybe it's their tactic to shut it down, maybe not. We don't know what's happening, so I don't have any answers on that. But it's going to affect timelines, which is a major question everyone has. Who knows what's going to happen with those? The only thing is, if you have a case and it's a good case, just submit it now, put it in the system and see what you can do. And hopefully they'll get the funding they need. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail and all that kind of stuff. But if you haven't already and you have a question, feel free to just ask it. If I can answer it or give you some general advice, I'd be happy to do it. Let's get it started. So let's see, going back to all the people who joined, thank you. We got a big group today. Thanks so much. Tedgies, feel free to ask your question. And on Facebook, feel free to ask questions if you had some as well. We're still waiting on a couple of questions to come through. But the situation with USCIS is very troublesome because there's other problems that are happening. You're getting RFEs, what are called requests for evidence. This is when you submit an application, but the government, some officer at USCIS says there's not enough information or you didn't provide everything that you needed, and they sent you an RFE. What happens many of these times with every single RFE that I have is we've submitted all the information they're asking for. They just didn't review it or look at it. And so when they come back and say, we didn't send a birth certificate, we didn't send an explanation of this, or we didn't send another document, or they're asking for things that don't exist in the type of case they're giving, it makes you wonder, well, why are they losing money? Well, their employees are spending a lot of money requesting things that don't exist because there's hours of time for them, hours of time in the processing center where they give it back, hours of my time too. So it's really weird situation that we're in. I don't really know. I mean, obviously we know why what's going on, but that's the situation we're dealing with the immigration part. If you don't have, you have no choice. If your case, you got to file it, but we prepare for this kind of stuff. Teji asks, what about abuse case effect during COVID-19? Teji, that's a very general question. What about abuse case? I'm not sure what that exactly means, but if you are a victim of abuse, you should contact an immigration attorney, maybe get help from the police first of all, but contact an immigration attorney in private to talk about it. That's just too general of a thing to be able to talk about here. Emerald says, April 18th was my interview. April was. Okay, so you probably canceled your interview if April 18th was your interview, Emerald asks. You just have to be patient for them to schedule a new one. We are getting naturalization, citizenship interview notices for those who had canceled appointments now, so they're coming. I'm getting my clients frequently getting notifications of their naturalization interview appointments set up, usually 3 weeks from the time we get the letter on most of my cases. So that's there. But with regards to adjustment of status, green card cases, those are on hold until the backlog of citizenship cases goes through. But the problem is, by that, their goal was by end of July to have the backlog of citizenship cases done. But in August, maybe if there's a furlough and USCIS shuts down, that's going to create a whole new set of problems, just like COVID-19. If COVID-19 gets worse, that's a problem too. Incredible asks, I've been waiting for 2 years now for my fiance K-1. and as everything is closed, so will it be wise to cancel K-1 and say get married and start CR1? I mean, I can't really advise you on a case-specific thing like that. I need to see what's going on in your life. And why it's taking that long, that doesn't make sense, because the embassy's only been shut down for the last couple months. Why did your K-1 take that long? So you know, already there's red flags or issues with your case that I need to talk with you about to see what's going on before you make a big decision like canceling the K-1 and going the marriage route. So I would just say consult with a lawyer. Generally speaking, doing a K-1 in the first place is not a good idea. For every 1 to 20, let's say 1 out of 15 cases that I get that are for couples, only 1 out of 15 will I file a K-1 case. In most cases, a K-1 Fiancé Visa is not appropriate. So you probably didn't have advice of an attorney, or some attorneys do file K-1s. I'm against filing K-1s unless we absolutely have to, and I'll give you some examples. But the fact that it's taking 2 years to get your K-1 going, it's a troubling issue. So I need to consult with you to see why you went the K-1 route, why it's taking this long. And the 2 examples of K-1s I submitted, one was a case where the couple were same-sex marriage, and the foreign person, they couldn't get married to the marriage green card, so we had to do a fiancé visa. And another case, the U.S. citizen, her whole family was in the United States, and I wanted her to leave, go to the foreign country to get married, because the foreign spouse couldn't get a visa to come here or really anywhere else. And so, but she said, no, my parents and stuff want to be at the wedding. We don't want to just get the wedding done, like that, without them there. So we're doing the fiancé, and I don't want them to. It's a headache. What's the main reason of headache in that kind of situation? Well, one is the travel bans themselves may or may not affect the K-1 depending on which travel ban it is. But on the other end, when you come in the United States on a K-1 Fiancé Visa, as soon as you arrive, you're still a foreign national that's on a non-immigrant visa that does not have a work permit. So let's say you fly into the United States, you're a person who's 30 years old in the prime of your career and everything like that. You come and land in the United States, all of a sudden you have no work permit and you can't work for 6, 7, 8 months, maybe longer if there's a shutdown or there's problems with your paperwork. And that causes a lot of friction in families. There's a financial friction of having a person all of a sudden added to your household who's not making money. And secondly, if you're, again, a person who's used to going out doing stuff, you may not have a social security number, you won't have a work permit for some time, all of a sudden you're stuck at home watching, daytime TV, which is the worst TV. So couples get frustrated. I had couples get into real big fights and stuff. And so I'm really against the fiancé visa unless it's appropriate for a case. Very rarely it may be appropriate, but that's my opinion on that. Charlie says, I have a green card and I had criminal trespassing. When it was dismissed, should I still get passport? Let me see, charge and follow up to that. You had to finish your question. When you have criminal history or stuff like that, these are not questions I could answer here. I have to see the conviction record myself to see what's happening. Even if it was dismissed, we got to see exactly what happened. It's not appropriate for me to talk about a case-specific thing like that. Ali Sheikh asks, if I go back and marry on green card and file I-130, will this time worth it even USCIS on? You guys got to work on your sentences. If you got to do what you got to do. If you're going to get married, you might as well get married started. That's really a general thing. Emerald follows up saying, April 18th was my interview cancel day. 20 years waiting, more than 75 year citizen. Yeah, I'm not sure. He's 20 years waiting to not your citizen. Unfortunately, you try contacting them, but I don't know. I don't have much to tell you about that. Reedcar asks, I am a tourist. My entry is about to finish. What should I do for entry? That question doesn't make sense. I'm assuming you're saying you're on a tourist visa and your status is about to finish. What should you do? Or maybe you should request an extension or change the status if it's appropriate. What you really should do is consult with an attorney in private. You don't have much time. You might not be able to get, even if you hire an attorney now, you may not have enough time to file the case. So stop delaying. Just contact a professional in private to review your case to see what's going on. That's the thing you need to do. Incredible asks, my background check took 6 months. That is why. Okay, so yeah, just be patient. I mean, if you get married and do the whole process again, you'll have to do another background check. So, just be prepared for that. Alex says, can I file for my naturalization after 4 years of my green card? No. How long will it take to be a citizen? I don't know how long it's going to take you to be a U.S. citizen. It varies. But unless you've been married and living with a U.S. citizen, you have to have your green card for at least 4 years and 9 months and satisfy all of the other requirements. So talk with an attorney in private. Beard Boy, a regular, asks, what will be the effect of furlough of USCIS employees on immigration process to get notice for I-485? we don't know. We don't know what this notice situation is going to be and all that's going to be. Does it mean we can still send in cases to USCIS and they'll give us a receipt, but they just won't process it? Or will it be them saying, no, we won't even accept anything, that's that, if people are out of status? It's not clear. And I think it's intentional that it's not clear, just like the travel bans are not clear, just like everything else. So we don't really know. We're in this zone that's never happened before, and the people in charge don't really care about the people that are using the system. If anything, they want to hurt them. So that's what we're dealing with. You have people that are against you in the system, and so when people ask what's going to happen to stuff, well, just think someone who doesn't like you and doesn't want you to be successful, how are they going to deal with it? That's what's going to happen. There's going to be lawsuits and the like, but that's the situation right now, and that makes life really. And I see the torture it's putting on people, good people, not even controversial types of visas, people just getting married. I mean, what's this about? Getting crushed in this political controversy of the administration. It's very sad. Hulan asked, did they also stop the process of immigrant-based visas? I'm petitioning my husband. I'm a resident. Well, it depends on what kind of immigrant-based visa you have, but most of them have been stopped. I mean, the embassies have been shut down, but there is an immigrant visa ban. It won't affect, for example, a minor child or spouse of a U.S. citizen and some other exceptions. But we got to see what kind of case you have. So consult with an attorney in private to see if it affects you, because there's multiple travel bans as well. I just jumped through a lot of questions. Let me go back. I went to the end all of a sudden. Okay, we'll go through it. If I join Army, can I become a U.S. citizen? Well, what is your current status? If you're right now, they're not accepting non-citizen or non-LPR, non-permanent resident applicants to join the military. If you have a green card, it used to be, I think you could get citizenship faster, but I think they're getting rid of that program. So probably not, but I need to know more information about your case, so probably not. ALI says, if someone is over age of 50 and holds a green card, does he or she still need to pass a test for a passport? Well, a test is not for a passport. It's for U.S. citizenship and naturalization. A passport is something, a document you get once you are a citizen. And there are some exceptions to the language requirements and the test on citizenship, but we have to know more information. It's not just being over 50, there's other things. If you look at the instructions that specify it, there's a bunch of websites that specify the details of this, but if you need individual help, consult with an attorney in private to review your case, because I need to see the green card, see your life history, all this kind of stuff, to see what the situation is specifically for you. But you know, the form itself has the breakdown how it is, as does the instructions. Incredible, thank you, and thank you for the points as well. Paloma says, is a CR21 ban also a CR21? I'm not even sure what a CR21 is. A conditional resident child, they're saying, or something like that? I'm not sure. Probably not a conditional CR21, not sure. I know it's CR1, CR21, I'm not sure which category that is. Try not to use categories, even though these nobody uses them. So I see a lot of people who are doing their own cases. They say, my NO1A or NO, Notice of Action 1, or no one talks like that, immigration. They say, okay, your receipt, my green card spouse case, my U.S. citizen spouse case. Just use the terminology. It's really that simple. Everyone in the game uses that simple terminology. A lot of these websites try to make it more complicated, I guess, but it's not that complicated. Christy, well, at least that part isn't. Christy says, hi, are biometrics offices open yet? I'm waiting for my fingerprints. No, there is a page on USCIS.gov. This is the government's website, from the USCIS Immigration Bar's website, and they have a listing of all offices that are closed, open, and all that. And the last I checked last week, all biometric service centers were closed. Now, I haven't checked a week since then, but the thing is, you'll get a notice when it opens up. So just be patient, and it'll come when it comes. Incredible, thank you. Bluehost says, I applied for EAD renewal, and can I still work with an expired EAD? Well, Blue, it depends on which category of EAD card you have. So I'd have to see your card to be able to advise on that. For example, if you had an adjustment of status case pending and you got your EAD, a work permit, based on that adjustment of status case, then yes, you could continue working if you filed for the extension before the existing EAD expired. However, if you had an EAD based on some other category, no. So you need to talk with your attorney in private, or just go to USCIS.gov website. It explains all this stuff, and you can find the info there, or schedule a consultation to get individual legal advice. Laxma says they just released a statement for F1. Could you explain more on that? Laxma, I did. I spent the first part of this video discussing the student visa situation. Unfortunately, if you are going to be doing an all online course, It's part of F1 student visa. ICE has said that's not acceptable anymore, that you just do the course online, and they will not issue visas for the schools that do that. So you may have to transfer schools or go to a different program that has more in-person hours, hybrid, or just fully in person. There's more to it too. You really need to consult with an immigration in private to see how it affects your case, and to talk with your school about it too. The DSO may have some information that can help you, but that's a repeat of what I talked about earlier in just a shorter period of time. Suya says, does a change of address affect the processing of green card visa? Well, it's not a green card visa, it's a green card or a visa. But in general, if you do change your address when you have a case pending in the United States, one is, if you change your address, you need to notify them for sure. But sometimes, even though you properly notify them and do everything right, their system doesn't get updated, and so they don't have your new address. They may send the approval or request for evidence to the old address. You don't get it, and all of a sudden you get a denial for not responding, or you lose your green card or something like that. And that's one of the reasons why having a lawyer is good, because I get a copy of everything and I keep an eye out on it. Secondly, if you do move when you have a green card case pending that requires an interview, the field office where you will have your interview will change. And because it's going to change from one office to another, sometimes things get lost or you get pushed back to the line, and things like that happen. So generally, I prefer people do not move when a case is pending, but if you gotta move, you gotta move. You know, just make sure to notify USCIS properly. I have other videos on that, my YouTube channel you can watch about how to do that, or consult with an immigration attorney. But that, preferably you don't move, but you know, do what you gotta do. Hamza asks, what is the maximum time for I-130 U.S. citizen filing for spouse? There is no maximum time. They can take however long at the end of the day that they want to, until you sue them or something like that, but there is no maximum time. Hari says, I'm a green card holder. My wife just got MVC notice, a consular, and got a MVC approval a couple of days ago. So that's just, yeah, Hari, your question doesn't make any sense. You're saying, I'm not sure what's going on. So you need to rephrase that, but with regards to the embassy, that means your case is doing embassy consular processing, so you have to wait for an embassy interview, but the embassies are closed because of COVID-19. So we're not clear, and it's not clear when they're going to be opening up for you to be able to, for your spouse to be able to do, your wife, to do her interview. So you just have to be patient, and they'll notify you when that is. And whether it falls on the proclamation, I don't know. I have to review your case individually. Julian says C21 for spouse. I don't know which category C21 is. Be more specific as to what kind of visa case it is. King asks, you're awesome. Thanks for all your help provided. You're welcome, King. I appreciate that. If you haven't already, please follow the TikTok channel, Immigration Lawyer John. And feel free to click on the link that's there. It'll give you a link at websites for my reviews, and also my YouTube page and all that Facebook page, so you can join there and get different types of information that's not here on TikTok. That's only on the other platforms. Usman says, when we accept our green card interview, if we applied since December 19th in Brooklyn, NYC. When we accept, I'm not sure what you mean. If you're saying when is the interview going to happen, you file on December 19th, it's going to happen whenever USCIS gets to you, so you just have to be patient. That's the only answer to that. You're welcome, Laxma. Charlotte Regular says, green card holder can apply for his fiancé or must be a U.S. citizen? You know, that's a good question. A fiancé visa is only available to U.S. citizens. A green card holder cannot do a fiancé visa. So if you are engaged and you want to come as a couple, that kind of green card, you do have to get married to be able to enter, to be able to, start the process. A green card holder cannot do a fiancé visa. Hasib says, I filed for my renewal green card in March, but didn't get any letter from them yet. If you didn't get a receipt notice, that means they don't have it or something. You should really follow up on that. But if it's anything after that, you may just have to be patient. I don't know your case. But if you didn't get a receipt notice that's serious, you should look into it. Usman says, okay, expect, okay. Hari Regular says, good to see you, Hari. My I-140 is approved and my case is EB3 type, so I have to wait until my priority date is current. Yeah, I mean, it depends on if you're in the United States or outside, and it also depends on whether USCIS allows you to use the date of filing priority date or chart, or the date of action or filing date, or the date of filing or the final action date. If they allow you to submit the EB3 I-485 based on the date of filing, which is great, you could at least get the case started sooner. But it's your priority date comes to play. Your question doesn't fully get all this other stuff. But the main thing is you need to file for adjustment of status now, and we have to see when your priority is due and whether you're inside or outside the United States, and whether USCIS is accepting the date of action or the date of filing, or final action date or the date of filing for the file. It gets kind of confusing. That's why you should just consult the attorney in private. Your employer will have an attorney that should be able to help you with that, though they always don't pay attention to the applicant because they're not paying them. So that might be the case. Okay, let's go. Okay, my phone, which has the questions, wasn't switching. Struggles, how to prepare for citizenship? Well, you know, I mean, you got to be able to speak English well. How do you prepare for citizenship? Okay, let's take that question in more detail. First of all, you have to know all your biographic information well. Most of the stuff that's just in the forms. And so when they ask you, you could, you know, verify it and know it. It'll be weird if you can't answer that. It includes your address history, work history, all that kind of stuff. And then you have to make sure all the other good moral character issues are fine, that you didn't not file taxes when you were supposed to, you didn't, you know, register to vote, or you didn't have criminal history, or be prepared to explain that if it's appropriate, and that kind of stuff. And then, you know, if you know English well, it's just be able to talk with them and practice the 100 U.S. citizenship questions that come up where they ask you who the president is, stuff like that. Typically, even people, I have a lot of people who contact me who are really worried about the citizenship questions, 100 questions. But I found that almost none of them have a problem with that in reality. They just practice and they learn it. The bigger issue that they have is just, you know, talking with the officer. Officer asks, and I have a case right now of an older woman in her 80s. She's been paranoid about the test. She did the test like this. And then the officer asked her, where did you used to live? And then she got flustered and didn't answer, so they're rescheduling her for another time. And the question is just be prepared to just talk about yourself really basically and show that you have a basic knowledge of English, that's it. One thing with regards to your background, like if you have a consultation with me, I have to dig in deep into your green card history, your previous immigration history, and just life, because I need to see if there was any problems that may come up at citizenship. Because this is the last time that they're really going to pay attention to your background, your case, before letting you live freely in the United States. And so they're going to go back and check all your history. So it's my job as an immigration attorney to have a detailed review of your history, to catch something beforehand that maybe you made a mistake, they should have denied your green card in the past, but they didn't catch it, and they will catch it now. That's why it's important. And you ask how to prepare. Well, there's practicing English, practicing the questions, make sure you know the history, all that kind of stuff to answer, but there's not much you could do about your history. And so the main thing is for me to review and see if there's issues, if there is, how to answer that, or maybe just say, you know what, don't file. You know, I can't recommend that you file, it'll hurt you by filing. And so that's the real reason you should hire an immigration attorney, to first review that kind of stuff and then take it from there and make a decision. Hari follows up, I saw some kind of changes who are waiting for I-485 application. Is that right? You know, there's constantly changes, so I don't know. It might be, it might not be. We have a question from Facebook. Aziz asks, I got denied after 2 years of filing my I-751, and until now I have not got the notice. That sucks. I hate to see that. So the I-751 is the removal of conditions. This is a person who had been married and got a green card through marriage, and because the marriage was newer, there's only a conditional green card. At around the 2-year mark, they have to refile the form I-751 to remove the conditions to get a permanent green card. In this case, unfortunately, it was denied. Well, you need to see the denial notice. You probably got a request for evidence initially. Okay. That'll give us a good idea of what their worries were about your case. So you should consult the attorney in private, take the RFE, the request for evidence that they probably gave you, and also the denial notice once it comes, to review it to see what's going on. Maybe the best thing to do is refile as soon as possible, because at a denial, they're going to send your case now to deportation, removal proceedings, to rehear the case again. So maybe you could potentially refile it depending on the situation of the case, to keep it with USCIS or get it started with that. But this is the kind of thing where you should get the notice as soon as possible, and immediately once you have it, have a consultation with 1, 2, or 3 immigration lawyers to see what they say and what their opinions are, but you have to move fast to hopefully try to avoid getting to removal proceedings and saving the hassle, the cost, and the money for that. Christiana says, hello, thank you for all you do. Thank you as well. My I-485 has passed normal processing times, 48 months. I made an inquiry. They replied a month ago out there doing background checks. Afterwards, I wrote the congressperson, what do you think is going on? I don't know, I have to see what your case is. So if your case is adjustment of status, that's a green card application, and you know, you're waiting for an interview, well, you just need to wait longer. They're just not doing interviews. But if it's background checks too, if it's a security situation, that's that too. If it goes even longer, you could try filing a lawsuit. That's up to you if you want to file a lawsuit. But again, there's a lot going on. We need to know about your background to try to figure out why they would be like this, why they would take longer, what you told them, what you didn't tell them, what documents you submitted. And sometimes they just make mistakes too that takes this long. You know, it could be that too. So it's just too much serious stuff that we got to discuss to be able to answer that question, Christiana. But I hope that give you some enlightenment as to the situation. Okay, going back to TikTok. Let's see. Any changes in work permits? I mean, as I mentioned earlier, there's like 30 different work permit categories or work visa categories and more than that. So when you say any changes, yes to some, not to others. We really have to know what's going on in your case. Suyama asks, does Texas office for USCIS process I-130 faster, or my chances to get the process sooner? each officer is gonna take their time. So you have no control over it either. So it doesn't really matter what you want to do. You just send your case in and you be patient. That's the only thing you can do. And so don't worry about things you have no control over. Be stoic about it. Smiley says, what's the wait time to be a citizen for F1 visa? That's not even possible. F1 student visa F1 is a student visa, and so there's no correlation with being a citizen. It's not possible what you're asking. Okay, Karina says, when I filed M400 as a citizenship application, I answered no for question 23, but I have a cell phone ticket. Can I have a problem? No, if you got a cell phone, you probably should tell them, or maybe at the interview say I want a correction or mail it to them, and try to find proof that you paid the ticket. But typically, no, there's no problem if it's just a cell phone ticket. Let's see. So in that case, it was, I think, probably, I can't remember the numbers of the questions, but 23, I'm assuming, is a question where it asks, have you ever been arrested or I got a citation before? It's just better to be upfront about everything. Ali Sheikh asks, how long will it take to bring my wife to the U.S. while I'm a green card holder spouse? I don't know. It just varies. 1, 2, 3 years, maybe. Hari follows up, my priority is October 19th, I'm in the United States. Hari, this is going into case-specific guidance. I can't get into that here because then I'd be your lawyer officially, and that's responsibility I'm on the hook for. So this is just for general kind of questions, but schedule consultation, do an individual legal advice kind of thing. So Emma asks, does the processing time on the official website genuine? No. That's why I always tell people, and people ask me the times, I don't know the times, and they can go to USCIS.gov and find some unreliable times there as well. They do whatever they want to do, and there's COVID-19, there's shutdowns, there's racism, there's all this crazy stuff going on in this system. So that's the only thing you can do is be patient. Don't worry about time so much. I know it sucks to be apart from your loved ones. I know it sucks not to have the work permit, but there's not much you can do about it. So just make the most of it. Go watch some educational YouTube videos, become a better person, read some books, you know, do some fun, spend time with your family, and worry about that kind of stuff. Let's see, we got some more. Sharuk asks, how about the F1 student visa? We heard that we have to leave the country. Sharuk, I talked about this twice already in this video, so just watch the review of this. It's going to be posted probably in 2 days or so, and I'm sure 1,000 other immigration lawyers are going to do videos on it, but I already talked about this twice. I'll leave you to a video for you to catch on that. Okay, we have a couple more questions we'll ask, and then we'll call it a day for today, but thank you everyone for joining. Let's see, Christy asks, I have an asylum status, applied for green card in October. I will have any interview before green card or not? Well, historically, if you had an asylum approved and a year later you file for adjustment status, normally they wouldn't even ask you to do an interview for your green card unless there's specific things in your case. However, President Trump came, he said, no, everyone does an interview. But because things have backed up, we've seen that even though they started doing interviews for everybody, they undid that and started approving green cards without the interview because they couldn't do interviews because of COVID-19. So whether you'll have an interview or not, it really just depends on the luck. So maybe you will, maybe you won't. That's the only answer that's possible for your question. Luis says, have you ever thought of being in medicine? Well, originally I was going to be a doctor, and I studied a little bit of medicine, but not really. I realized, like, being a doctor is no fun. You got to deal with sick people all day. So I don't want to do that. I'd rather just do something more active. So I studied to study law, not to practice law, but because I was interested in the thought process of a lawyer. And then sort of just came into immigration, and you know, my firm is there's only a couple lawyers who practice immigration law like I do, and I take a more vibrant, energetic way of practicing, and I like to do this active kind of stuff, do a lot of Q&A. Not many lawyers do that. Most lawyers just sit in the office and have a certain thing. So I really just like talking to the people and engaging and educating, and so I've switched my practice to that kind of practice, and it's been very successful. But medicine, maybe I could do the same there too, but it just took too long, too much studying. I didn't enjoy chemistry as much, and so I said, law seems better. Ali Sheikh says, how long will it take to process on 30? It varies depending on the case. Yolene says, any news on foreign students for a semester they will be sent back? I've talked about that already today. Shark says, is that make sense when you have lots of change of address between states of USA while applying for citizenship? Shark, consult the attorney, because if you change address for filing, that could be an issue, but your question is not fully developed too, so I can't answer that. I'll take 2 more questions. Alexander says, EAD is approved through adjustment of status marriage case, and I got my SSN today. Congrats. Before the EAD, is that okay? Yeah, I mean, the Social Security number the Social Security office might issue your Social Security number for your EAD. That's fine. It's not a problem. Let's see. Last question is, Safa, is it true that I can make my pending case from asylum to come forward, probably mean faster, through the attorney? No. I mean, you could try making an expedite request. it's better you have a lawyer, but you have a good lawyer, and maybe if there's some issue, you could try to request an expedite for some reason, but it doesn't necessarily mean the case. It maybe not. Most likely not, but there might be some cases won't make a difference. So, you know, that is. And then, yeah, there's more questions. I want to get one more. Yanni says, news says that foreign students can be sent back if classes are online. Is that true? Yes, I talked about this thoroughly already a couple times. Shahrukh, I talked about this too. I'll probably talk about it again tomorrow at the beginning of the show because I'm sure people have this question. So I'll take one last question here, and then join us tomorrow 5 p.m. Pacific on TikTok. You can watch recordings on YouTube, and tomorrow we're going to be on Instagram. JQK Law Firm is the Instagram handle for Tuesdays to have this live show. And last question I saw it asked, how long can I take my wife in the United States? I'm a citizen. The question doesn't make much sense. How long can I take my wife U.S.? Your wife could apply for a tourist visa, be here for 6 months potentially, or if they're on the visa waiver program, maybe 90 days. If you mean how long it'll take for your wife to come here through a green card, 1, 2, 3 years, maybe longer, maybe less. Timelines don't really make sense in the world of immigration, so don't worry about those. Just try to get the process started sooner rather than later. And you know, it'd be faster if you go talk with an immigration in private, schedule a consultation. My office, info@jklaw.com. Fees are applied to consultations, but the sooner you talk to a lawyer, get it started, the sooner they're here. So that's what you should be worried about. Action, not thought, action. Go and do what you need to do. If you're worried about getting your spouse here faster, just go and apply faster. You get the paperwork faster. Every client I've ever had who said, hey, I'm really in a rush. We got to get this started fast. Or I want my spouse to be here fast. I said, okay, let's do it. I'm going to drop everything, get it started. Every single time after even they signed the contract and paid, they disappear for 2 months. And I'm like, well, what happened? You're in a rush. Like, oh, you know, I have to find the birth certificate. I had to get a translation. I'm like, what happened to the rush? And that's why I know when people are in this kind of rush, asking about timelines, there's definitely stuff you could have done to make it faster, and by just acting faster, hiring an attorney faster, getting your papers translated faster, you know, getting all together faster. And that's what you should worry on. What could you do to make it faster? We have no control over what USCIS does, essentially. You can file lawsuits, maybe you get a congressperson, maybe it may not work, will cost you a bunch more money. But the only thing you have control over is your action. So keep your mind focused on that, not just in immigration, in everything else in life. We see in the news people constantly jumping on each other's throats and saying, this guy should do that, that guy should do that. Well, let's just focus on what we can do to make it better. And hopefully, you know, coming on the show, helping you out with this information will push you to, you know, taking action on your case and doing the right thing to avoid immigration issues and anything else I could help with advice. Thank you all so much for joining. I'll take one last question on Facebook because we didn't take too many there. Aziza follows up, says, thank you. Do you mean I need to start all over again, file my I-485? No, you may need to refile the I-751, or you may go to immigration court to do that in front of a judge. Unfortunately, it's a messy, expensive process that you're going to go through right now. Prepare for that, but you will need to resubmit an I-751 one way or another to keep your green card, or potentially do some other type of case if that's appropriate. But one thing you will have to do is consult with 1, 2, or 3 lawyers to get different opinions to see what kind of experience they have, because it's a messy situation when your I-751 removal of conditions is denied, unfortunately. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining. I'll see you all tomorrow here. Instagram, JK Law, on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, JOHN, and as always, we're going to be on this video on YouTube. We can't wait to it. Have a good one. God bless. Be safe. Bye-bye.